Hello soulmate, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, we are going to be learning how to make this mid tank top that has a stylish gathers design at one part. So if this is one that you are interested in, kindly join me when we get started. Okay, first thing is to place your pattern paper on a fold and draw a straight line at the top. Then from that top, you mark your shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, and then your shoulder to waist. We are actually making the front piece, okay? So after marking this, you're just going to go ahead and draw straight line. So I'm working with 9 inches for shoulder to bust, 12.5 for shoulder to under bust, and 16 inches for the shoulder to waist. So take note that we're not going to be making use of that, or we're not going to be making use of any that at all for this dress, because making of this dress is going to be needing a stretchy fabric. Okay, I'm going to be needing a very stretchy fabric to achieve this. And if you're using a stretchy fabric, you don't need to use that. It's going to work out well. Okay, so let's just continue. So I'm marking the shoulder measurement divided by 2 on the chest, on the starting line, that is the shoulder line, and I came down by 1 inch, and from that 1 inch I marked 7 inches, which I'm going to be connecting together. That 7 inches is gotten by dividing by your bust circumference by 6 and adding 1.5. So I'm working with a bust circumference of 33 inches, dividing by 6 and adding 1.5 is giving me 7 inches, and that's what I marked there. So I drew a straight line and labeled it chest line. What I'm doing right now is the neck width and neck depth of 3 inches on both sides. So after marking 3 inches at the neck width and neck depth, I connected it and connected the neck width to the 1 inch below the shoulder line for my shoulder slope. So I'm getting my armhole curve by marking the midpoint of that 7 inches armhole depth, coming in by half of an inch. I'm marking the bust circumference divided by 4 on the chest line, and I went ahead to connect these 3 parts together with a curve. That's how I got the armhole curve. So now remember, we're not going to be using a dart for this dress, so we don't need to use our bust span or impute that. We're just going to go ahead and impute the body measurements, dividing them by 4. So I divided the bust by 4, on the bust by 4, and waist by 4, imputed them on the lines, and I connected them together like this. Okay, so after that, I'm going to open it up and transfer what I have on one side to the other side. So mind you, I'm using an under bust of 28 inches and the waist of 25 inches. So as you can see, I've transferred it on one side. So I'm just going to come to the center line, that crease line I have at the center, and I'm going to mark 1 inch like this. From that line, I'm going to mark 1 inch, and I'm going to connect it with a straight line. This is because I'm not going to be working directly on the center. I'm just going to come in 1 inch after the center. Okay, so now we are working on these other parts of the pattern. So what we're going to do is that on this chest line, I'm going to label it so we can know what we are working with. The chest line, which is the upper line there, I'm going to come up by 1 inch and mark it there. Then I'm going to be connecting that point to the bust line. I'm going to come down below the chest line to that bust line, and I'm going to place my curve in a way that I want it to be, and I'm going to connect it from that bust line to the chest line. I mean 1 inch above the chest line that we marked there. Okay, so I'm going to smoothen this part here because my ruler was shaking when I was connecting it. Ensure you place your own properly so you don't have it shaking like that. So after that, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. If you're finding this interesting, please give us a thumbs up, comment, share our videos, and subscribe to our channel so you can get more videos when we upload them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. As you can see, after cutting out the parts I don't need at the top, I'm going to slash them into 2 like this, as you can see. So we're going to be working on this other part, and for me to for me not to get confused, I'm going to turn it this way to the back like this, and I'm going to be sharing this particular piece rather into equal parts. Okay, I'm going to be marking equal spaces around them. You can mark as much spaces as you want. You can use 1 inch difference, you can use 1.5, you can use 0.75. This totally depends on how full you want the gathers to be. Okay, so after doing that, I'm connecting them with straight line like this. What we are doing is slash and spread. We're going to be slashing them, and we're going to be spreading them on another piece. Okay, so after that, I labeled it 1 to 8, and I wrote the front at the back so that we can know this is the back piece, and I've repeated the exact same thing I did in the front, where I fix the armhole, mark the shoulder to bust, shoulder to waist. For the back, we don't need the under bust. Okay, so the neck width, now I'm going to come and mark 1.5 inches below the starting line. For the front, we use 3 by 3. Here we're using 3 by 1.5. So you can use 3 by 1 or 3 by 1.5. It's going to work, okay? So after connecting that, I'm going to connect the body measurements after imputing them. Remember, we got our armhole by marking the armhole depth, dividing it by 2 and coming in by half of an inch. Then I marked the bust circumference divided by 4 on the chest line and connected these points together. If you're watching my previous video, you'll be very familiar with this. So after that, I'm going to transfer what I have on that side to this side. I've gone ahead to connect these lines. It's just the neck and the body parts that have not been connected. So I'm going to go ahead and impute the waist measurement divided by 4 and then also connect it together to the bust point where I mark the bust measurement divided by 4 on the chest line. Then I'm going to also go ahead and connect the neck width and neck depth together like this, okay? So after connecting it, now we're actually done with this. We are going to work on the other part that is going to be slashed and spread. I'm labeling this so that I can be able to know the lines I'm working with. So now I'm going to bring the front piece like this. I'm labeling it so that we can be able to know it. Then I'm going to bring it and I'm going to turn it this way so that we don't make mistake, because remember the first side we worked with the right. For the back, we're going to be working with the left. So when you turn your pattern like this, you'll be able to tell that, okay, this is the side that you're going to be working on. Okay, so I'm marking 1 inch just like I did for the front at this side, so that when you connect them together, they will align. Okay, so I'm going to connect all these lines together after marking 1 inch from the center, like I'm doing right now. So after that, of course, we are done with this part. I'm going to be working with the other part. So for this part, we're going to be working on the bust line. The back is going to be straight. It's not going to be having a curve because there's no bust there like the front that has a curve where we had to come up from the chest line by 1 inch. We're just going to be having a straight line there. I remember for the front, we stop at the bust line from the side. So we're going to be working at that same side of the back, for the bust line. For the back, we're going to be using that same side, which is the bust line. So we're going to just go ahead and cut it out from that bust line. So you just have to watch what I'm doing and you see how it's done. You're going to get it right. So if you are finding this tutorial helpful, do not forget to subscribe to our channel so you can be notified when we upload new videos. And mind you, we have a beginner class for those that are new in the fashion industry. If you're interested, send a message to the number that is displayed on the screen. Okay, so as you can see, we are done with the back. We're going to also go ahead and slash and spread it open just like we did for the front piece. So I'm going to go ahead and share it equally. Like I said, this is totally optional depending on how full you want the gathers to be. So I'm only spreading this with about 1.25 each, and some points where the spaces are not going to give me 1.25 equally, I'll just spread it 1 inch. Like this lower part is not going to give me 1.25, so I went ahead to just share it equal, and then I label it 1 to 7, of which the back is having the back piece so that I can indicate. You can see. So take note, I turned it to the back because the back is I mean to say that there are no lines at the back, because I don't want to misunderstand it when I'm cutting it. That's why I turn it the other way. Take note of that. So now that I've cut it out, I'm going to spread it out on another piece of paper. You can still do this on your fabric directly if you want to, but if you are trying this for the first time, I would advise you do it on a piece of paper. So you can see I'm placing them equally, leaving about half of an inch spaces across them. Now take note that the sides are equal. The straight side, you can see it equal. You can use your ruler to place it like this to ensure that it's equal. If it is not, please ensure that it is straight. Okay, then this other side, that side has a little bit of shape. What you're going to do is you're going to add allowance all through and ensure that you follow the shape when you're adding the allowance. Okay, so this is an illustration. I'm just illustrating what you're going to do there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out with the mind that, okay, I've added half of an inch allowance. Please don't do this if you are not able to gauge or know half of an inch on your own. If I just use your tape measure to mark half of an inch before cutting it. Okay, so for the back, I'm also going to repeat the same thing after placing it and ensuring that it is straight. Okay, so for the front piece, I didn't cut half of an inch on this side, so I went ahead to do that and I continued at the back piece. Ensure you place them evenly, just the way you want it, depending on how spread you want it, like how much gathers you want. Okay, then after doing that, you can see that I turned it to the back. That's why it's like this. So by the time you are done, this is where we are going to work with. You're going to turn it this way. This is now going to be how it is. That's why I'm labeling it. Same thing for the front. You're going to turn it this way, and this is how it's going to be when you're working it. So take note that that part that is straight is where the center is going to be. Okay, I'm going to remove the pins now. When I've removed the pins and the tape, this is what it is, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it. So I'm doing the same thing for the back as well. I'm going to go ahead and turn it. Okay, don't forget to turn it back because we turned it the first time before we slashed and spread. So this part in the center, I'm writing center there to indicate that is going to be the center. That straight part is the center, while the part that has a shape, like a slanted shape, is the side. Okay, so now I've taken the front piece like this and I'm placing it. You can see that the center is straight. So we are going to make gathers. When you cut it on your fabric, you're going to make gathers or pleats. And one thing you should take note is that when you are making your pleats, remember when we are drafting, we came up from the chest line by 1 inch. We came up from the chest line by 1 inch. You're going to take your tape measure. You're going to mark 1 inch above the chest line there. And whatever you are going to however you're going to make these gathers or pleats, you need to ensure that what you have on that center side should be between that 1 inch you came up from the chest line to the waist. It should not be less and it should not be more. You have to align that properly. And for the sides, you have to make sure it is from the bust to the waist. Like whatever you have on that side should be equal to the bust to the waist. Okay, you have to make sure you do that for the front. And then for the back piece, you're also going to follow the same process. What you're going to do, because the back is straight, what we did for the back is that we started from the bust line down to the waist. Okay, so you're going to make sure that if you make your gathers or your pleats, by the time you have made it on your fabric, it should be equal to what you have from your bust to the waist, so that when you're done, you can go ahead and join it. And the same thing is for the sides too. What you are going to do there is going to be equal to the side of the bust to the waist as well. Everything must be the same. So by the time you are done, this is what we have. So when you have made that gathers and you turn it over, you're going to be joining it here with about half of an inch or whatever allowance you use, and when you turn it, it's going to be like this. So at this point, we are done with this tutorial. If you find it helpful, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. See you in my next video.